Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is one that I'm really excited to film for you guys because today we are going to be doing another first impression foundation review video. And today's foundation that we're going to be trying out is this one right here. This is the Tarte Foundcealer Multitasking Foundation. I've got two different shades. So I picked up the shades 24G Light Golden and 35G Medium Golden. So I'm really excited to try this one out. I've also tried two other Tarte foundations, so I'll leave those first impressions down below in the description. They turned out really well, so I've got really good high hopes for these ones. So if you're curious to see how this turns out, then just continue watching. So starting off, before we pop on some primer, I really wanted to try out this product right here. This is the Tarte Skincare High Performance Naturals Baba Bomb Moisturizer. I mean, look at the packaging. It is so beautiful. I really want to try this one out today. So on the side, it says infused with Babassu, avocado, green tea, and plant collagen. So it says on the back, nourishes, moisturizes, and soothes. Rich, whipped texture, lightweight feel. So I'm really excited. So let's go right ahead and start off with some moisturizer. You guys, this packaging is so pretty. As you can see, it's got this beautiful green leafage along the label. It's got a green top, and then the top of it comes off like this. So you can see all you do is you pump this down. And then as you can see, the product comes from the top. So I'm really excited to try it. It's got a slightly more thicker whipped texture. I've tried one of the top moisturizers. It was the Rainforest of the Sea H2O Hydrating Boost, I think it was called. And it was a much lighter, more gel-like texture. This one feels like more of a traditional kind of cream. So I'm going to pop that right through the whole of my face and blend her in. She feels really smooth. Very creamy, very smooth, and way more moisturizing than the last one. I'd say if you have more combination skin or oily skin, you'd prefer the other one. If you have slightly drier skin, you'll really like this. It feels really luxe. And then moving on to primer, to keep it consistent, I want to use the same combo that I did in my last two first impressions. So I'm starting off with the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer. This is what it looks like. As you can see, it's kind of this thick, rich, whipped texture. So I always take a little bit of that on my finger. And then I kind of pop it right through my T-zone where I get the largest pores. I also pop a little bit through the center of my brows. And along the chin. And then everywhere else, I'm going to use my deluxe sample of my Tarte Poreless Mattifying Primer. So I'm just rubbing that between my fingers, and I'm going to go right ahead and just pop it everywhere else. So next, moving on to foundation, I'm really excited to try these. This is once again the Tarte Foundcealer Multitasking Foundation, and I picked up two different shades. So the shades that I picked up are 24G Light Golden and 35G Medium Golden. So I'm really excited. As I said, I've tried out two different Tarte foundations before. I did first impressions on them both. So I'll leave them down below in the description bar if you want to see how they turned out, but I'm really excited. So the packaging on this looks really pretty. I love the kind of plain purple front, and then on the side you can see it's got their social media. The other side is just completely plain with that really beautiful kind of leaf packaging, which kind of matches my background. It is kind of my favorite aesthetic, clearly. And then on the back, it doesn't say very much. Normally they have a lot of claims along the foundations, but this just says foundation on the back in a few different languages and the ingredients. So it doesn't actually say anywhere what the claims are, so I'm going to look it up on my phone and I'll read it out to you. So I just pulled up the Tarte website on my phone. It says the first ever vegan skincare foundation. All-in-one moisturizer, concealer, foundation. Hydrates for 12 hours and helps skin appear plumper. Ultra nourishing Babassu gives skin a youthful glow. Medium customizable coverage, never cakey or dry. Natural radiant finish for healthy looking skin. And then it's got a few different tested, so it's got some claims and some clinical results. Ingredients include Babassu, hyaluronic acid, sunflower seed, vitamin E, and it says it's formulated without parabens, mineral oils, phthalates, triclosan, sodium lauryl sulfates, and gluten. So that sounds really good. It's got quite a few different shades, so I'm excited to try it out. Okay, so here is what the packaging looks like. It is so pretty. I love how the cap matches the box. It's got this gold stripe right here. It's kind of frosted acrylic or plastic packaging, and then it's got Foundcealer written across the side. Once again, the shades I've got in my hand are 24G light golden, which is this one here, and then 35G medium golden, which looks a lot darker to me. So I've got a feeling I'll probably either be a little bit of a mix of the two of them, or maybe even just the lighter one, because it is winter here in Australia. But I'm going to do a swatch of them on my cheek. But I love the look of this packaging, and it appears as though the pump is in the top, so that's really cool. So let's go right ahead and start with some swatches along my cheek. Okay, so I'm going to go right ahead and start swatching the two on the back of my hand. They're actually a little bit runnier than I thought. For some reason, I thought the name Foundcealer made me think of like a thicker concealer type of foundation. As you can see, they're dripping down my hand. They're a little bit runnier. So I'll show you what the two shades look like. So this one here is the lighter one, which for some reason isn't looking as runny. This is the shade 24G Light Golden. And then this one right here, which is dripping down my hand, is 35G Medium Golden. So I definitely think we'll be closer to this one, but I'm going to go right ahead and just swatch the both of them on my cheek. Funnily enough, on my cheek, that one actually looks a lot closer, doesn't it? Like towards my neck. I don't know why, but for some reason, it always looks like my hand is way lighter than my face is. So maybe I'll actually do the darker one today. Let's start off with 35G Medium Golden. So to apply the foundation, I want to do a half and half comparison, just like normal. I want to do half of my face with a brush and then the other half with a sponge. So the brush we're going to be trying out today is the Tarte Foundcealer Foundation brush, which I mean, look at this packaging. It is so beautiful. I love the handle. I love the gold ferrule. It is right up my alley. I love this type of shape. I've tried the Airbrush Flawless Foundation brush, which I think is the bigger one, the original one, and that worked out really well. So I've got really high expectations. And speaking of really high expectations, this is the Dose of Colors Seamless Beauty Sponge Jumbo. So I really enjoy the original one, and I really wanted to try out the Jumbo today. So high expectations for both of the tools. Hopefully they work out well. So let's go right ahead and start off with the brush. So I'm going to start by taking a full pump of the shade 35G Medium Golden, and I'm going to take my brush and tap into that foundation. So I'm going to take that straight onto the cheek. I'm going to take a little bit more on the forehead. That's the entirety of that amount of product on this half of my face. Love the color so far. Actually, I don't think it's too dark at all, but we'll see if it changes, dries down, oxidizes throughout this first impression. But so far, very smooth. And then for our sponge side, I'm really excited to try this one out. This is the Dose of Colors Seamless Beauty Sponge Jumbo. So I thought for comparison's sake, I would bring out my original Seamless Beauty Sponge, which is this one in the orange. As you can see, without it being wet, it's not that different in shape. It's maybe a little bit taller and a little bit wider, but the base and the squishiness feels exactly the same. So I'm going to not wet this one, but I'm going to wet this one so you can see how it kind of expands and see how much bigger it gets. Yeah, you guys, this is what it looks like when it's wet. That expanded like mad. The second it touched some water, it just went poof, and it's so much bigger now. Let's go right ahead and try out the Jumbo. So I'm going to start off with another full pump. Once again, tapping straight into the foundation. And then I'm going to apply it straight to the cheek. You guys, the sponge is so soft. It feels like a literal cloud touching my cheek. It is like an actual pillow. It is so soft. It's definitely softer than the original. I feel like it's definitely a lot bouncier. So far, so good. So I'm going to take a full pump, and then this time I'm going to start spotting it around the face. So that's about a half a pump. So let's go right ahead and blend it back out with a brush. And then taking the remainder of that pump, I'm going to go right ahead and start spotting it on the other side too. And then blend it out again with a sponge. Okay, so here's what the skin is looking like with 2 pumps of foundation on each side. As you can see, this half of my face, which was done with a brush, is looking really nice. I'd say they both built up really well. I would say if anything, the side with the sponge is probably medium coverage. The side with the brush is maybe medium to full coverage. Only because even in the scarring, you can see we're a little bit more fuller coverage here versus kind of right in here. We can still see a little inkling, but I would say, to be honest, I'm pretty happy with this coverage on both sides. I don't want to build it up anymore. I think it looks really nice, it looks really smooth, so let's move on to concealer. So for concealer, you guys, we still have more shades of this concealer to try out. This is the Tarte Shape Tape Contour Concealer, and I've got the shades Fair Neutral. I've also got another Fair Neutral in the kit in the unused Tarte bag that I have in my other room. Light Neutral in the center, and 34S Medium Sand as well. So I think to try and conceal the blemish, let's take 34S Medium Sand, and then underneath the eyes, let's use Light Neutral today. So I'm going to take 34S Medium Sand on the back of my hand, and then I'm going to take a little bit of that on my finger, and I'm going to try and conceal this breakout. And then I'm taking the shade Light Neutral, and I'm going to start concealing my under eyes. I'm going to take a tiny bit through the center of the forehead, down the bridge of the nose, and the chin. And then to blend that out, I'm going to use the pointier end of the sponge. I'm also going to take that on top of the eyelids as well. This is honestly the softest sponge I've ever tried in my whole entire life. It is so light and airy and bouncy, like it barely feels like I'm touching my skin. It is so soft. And then to start setting the face down, I want to try out this palette right here. This is the Tarte Contour palette, and I'm pretty sure this is the original first one. So this is what the palette looks like. It is so pretty. I love the kind of foiled gold texture on the top. It's got Tarte in purple, and then the back is kind of this kind of shiny reflective packaging. And then on the inside, it's got a huge mirror and then a ton of face products. So you can see it's got a highlight, a corrector. This I think is also a brightener or maybe another highlight, a blush, a contour, and then a bronzer. So I'm excited to try that one out. So let's go right ahead and start setting the under eyes with the correct shade, which is a banana powder. So to apply that to the under eye, I'm going to use this brush right here. This is the Zoeva 110 Face Shape Brush. It is such a nice brush for the under eye. I'm going to tap straight into the palette, blend out any creasing, and then start setting that under eye. I'm also just going to set this half of my face so you can see the before and afters. This powder is really nice because as you can see, this half is completely unset. This half has the powder on it. As you can see, it's kind of toned down a little bit of the shine right here and maybe a tiny bit right here, but really it hasn't altered the foundation too much. So I think that's going to be really good for anyone with kind of drier skin. I really like the finish of this powder. So seeing as I actually really like that powder, I'm actually going to take a larger brush. This is the Dose of Colors large powder. Tap into that palette and I'm going to set the rest of my face. Okay, so I'm going to zoom you guys in because I'm actually going to leave the complexion here and I'm going to move on to my next video. I've got a ton of fun things to play with, so I cannot wait to see what we create. But before I do that, I want to show you guys a real close-up of the skin now that it's set. Okay, so I'm pushed all the way up close to the camera so you can really see my skin. So here is how we are looking with 2 pumps of foundation on both sides that has now been set. So here is the side that was done with the brush. As you can see, we've got a really natural soft glow to the skin. It looks really nice and even. I would say with the powder on the skin now, we're pretty much at a medium, I would say. I think we've actually toned down a little bit in coverage. I think you can start to see a little bit of my kind of scarring peeking through, which doesn't really bother me, but I thought I wanted to mention that. And then this half here was done with the sponge. So you can see I didn't have a lot of success in covering this breakout. I might go right ahead and use my NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in this kind of spot right here just to try and conceal that breakout a little bit more, and then we'll move on to the next video and I'll see you guys in a little bit. So the time is now 11:58 p.m. I'll see you guys with my full face completely done. Hey guys, so I'm back for my first check-in. The time is now 4 o'clock on the dot, so I'm definitely running about an hour late for my first check-in. This makeup look definitely did take quite a while, but the rain that has been pouring down, the thunderstorms, made me have to pause every now and then to try and get decent audio for you guys. So let me know what you think of this look. I am really happy with it. It is inspired by this look right here. This is the screenshot from the video that she posted. It's from Dafine Naziri. I feel like I'm definitely saying that wrong, but it's Dafine Neziri. So Daphne Naziri. She is one of the most incredible makeup artists on this planet. Her, Nikki Makeup, Hin Dash, Painted by Spencer, all of these incredible artists that I am just obsessed with. Obviously, I knew I was going to do a slightly more dramatic and kind of graphic version of this look because honestly, her model is a literal model and I am a toe. So I felt like I wanted to create this kind of graphic look and I'm really happy with the finished result. So let me know what you think of it. The cut crease is a lot more elevated and a lot more lifted. Normally I bring my cut creases out and I stop them around here, whereas this one was pretty much at the end of the brow. So I'm really liking it. Let me know if you want to see some variations of this. But anyways, moving on to the foundation. It literally looks exactly the same. The one thing I'm noticing is how badly Shape Tape has been creasing on me. I feel like I never remembered anyone saying that Shape Tape creased, but I feel like ever since I first started using it, I'm starting to notice how bad my creases are. And I feel like, is that just a me problem or is that anyone else that has tried Shape Tape? But apart from that, the complexion, ooh, it's looking good. It's looking really smooth. I'm starting to notice maybe around the jawline, right around the chin. It's not separating or doing anything too weird, but we're just looking a little bit heavier. But right along the cheek, everything looks the same. The forehead looks the same. The one thing I was noticing is in the tutorial, my bronzer was looking a little bit too just intense. I don't know if I didn't set the foundation enough, and that's why it was kind of a little bit more intense than I normally like. And I can see where I've tried to correct it, but apart from that, that is not the foundation's fault. That is my lack of setting. The center of the forehead looks pretty spot on. The cheeks, as I said, are looking pretty good. The nose is the one thing that I am like blown away by. The nose looks better than I think I've ever seen my nose look. Weird comment, but let's zoom you guys in. So just like always, I am pushed all the way up close to the camera so you can really see my skin. As you can see, they both are looking pretty similar, but see right here, this is what I was talking about. So as I mentioned before, it could also be that I was using my hand as an anchor, but mainly I do believe it's because when I was trying to blend my contour in, I got so dark in this area, so I tried to overcompensate by kind of blending it out, and I think I maybe might have just done something weird here. So ignore that for the rest of the day. I actually think that might have been me, but apart from that, the one thing to note is kind of my jawline. Do you see how we're looking a little bit kind of heavy and maybe a little textured here? I will admit I do have a lot of texture around my jaw, around my chin, specifically right here. Maybe this is emphasizing it a little bit, but look at my nose. I mean, weird comment, but really my nose looks perfect. So smooth, no pores, no patchiness, and this is very minimal for the amount of melting I get around my nostrils. My nostrils melt horrifically bad. It doesn't matter what foundation, doesn't matter what primer, doesn't matter what skincare, doesn't matter what setting spray, doesn't matter what powder. My nostrils melt so bad. I just think it's just the shape of my nose. So that's really not bad. And then the forehead, you can see, is looking really smooth, really even, not textured, not cakey. But yeah, guys, I think we are looking pretty good. So I'm gonna go right ahead, have some lunch, and I'll see you in a few more hours. Hey guys, I'm back for my second check-in. The time is now 6:10 p.m. So the makeup's been on for about 6 hours approximately. As you can hear outside, it is absolutely pissing down with rain. It is literally thunderstorms, rain. I almost thought I might have heard some hail. So unfortunately, I've been sitting here for the last 10 minutes trying to wait it out and it's not happening. So hopefully you don't mind, but there'll be a little bit of rain and background noise. It seems to be coming in and then out and then in and then out. It has been all day. So anyways, let's have a look at how we are looking. Okay, so looking at my skin, even though it's only been 2 hours since you last saw me, I'm starting to notice a few little differences. So starting off, my nose still looks incredible. It looks really smooth, really poreless, no separation, a little bit more melting, but nothing too extreme. I'll show you guys that in a second. The forehead looks really nice and smooth, not looking too heavy, not looking too cakey either, which I find a lot of the times my forehead is the first place to get really cakey and heavy, with the exception of my chin. So speaking of the chin, it's looking looking pretty bad. It's not unbearable, like I would still go out in public looking like this, but truly I'm starting to notice a little bit of, it might be a breakout that's coming through. I'm not sure whether it was here prior, like in the morning underneath the skin, or whether it's kind of come to the surface because of the makeup that's sitting on there. So when I zoom you guys in, you'll notice that this little bit right here is looking really textured, and there's a little red cystic pimple that I think is going to be showing its ugly head. But in saying that, this one right here hasn't gotten any worse, and if it was the foundation that was agitating my skin, I would imagine that this would also have come to a head and gotten more angry. So I guess I'll keep you guys up to date. Let's zoom you guys in and you'll have a good look at my skin. Okay, so I am pushed all the way up close to the camera so you can really see my skin. So starting off with the left to right, as you can see, this is the side that we applied using the brush. As you can see from earlier, we talked about this kind of area right here by my cheek. But as I said, I'll keep an eye on it the next time I try it out. And if I notice any weird patching or separation, I'll let you guys know down below. And then on this side, once again, as you can see, the blemish is still covered. It's nicely covered and I don't think it seems irritated or anything of that sort. But the forehead is looking really nice and smooth, and the eyes, they have stayed really well intact. I've got to say, I talked about a little like cut crease hack in the video that you'll be seeing next, which is this makeup look, and I've got to say it really has made the biggest difference, because I mentioned in that video that cut creases tend to irritate my inner corners and the gunking of product tends to separate and kind of patch and do weird things, and my eyes can get a little bit red because of it. So keep an eye out for the next video because I'll talk about that little hack. It's so simple, but I feel like it makes the ultimate difference in the way that my cut creases wear. So moving on to the chin area, as you can see from here down, we are really not looking all too great. If you look at it, it kind of looks a little bit like it's curdled, like it's sitting on top of the skin, starting to borderline separate in a few different areas. And as you can see right in here, we're really starting to get some under the skin breakouts. Now in saying that, as I mentioned, I'm not too sure whether they were there in the morning or whether they have been triggered from the foundation or the primer or the concealer or the powder. A multitude of different things could do this to my skin, but in saying that, they're very, very painful and they're very inflamed. So if I do wear this foundation the next time and it happens again, I will let you guys know. Anyways, I will speak to you guys in a few more hours. Hey guys, so I'm back from my final check-in. The time is now 9:05 p.m. So I've had the foundation on for about 9 hours and I thought I'd sit down and let you guys know my final thoughts. Okay, so looking at the skin all the way up close, surprisingly, we don't look that different from the last check-in. I would say if anything, all the things that I've mentioned so far have probably gotten a little bit worse, but really not that bad. I feel like I'd say 6 hours is when I started to notice a real shift in the foundation, and since then it actually hasn't gotten too much worse. So I'll zoom you guys in. Okay, so I'm pushed all the way up close to the camera so you can really see my skin. So once again, I'll give you a left to right. So this is the sponge side, and then here is the brush side. So you can really see we're actually not looking all that different. The eyeshadow is still going strong. I would just say the under eyes are really starting to look a little bit kind of worn in now. I mean, it has been 9 hours. So if I look up, you can see those kind of fine lines really kind of sitting in there. And right here, I'm starting to notice we're really looking a little bit shinier. Like I can start to see a lot of my texture kind of peeking through my cheeks. So it's not only that kind of highlight area, but it's kind of pulling down a little bit more. You can kind of see in this lower kind of apple of my cheek. And I'd say if anything, the chin hasn't gotten too much worse. Seeing as it has been 3 more hours, I kind of expected it to be either just a little bit more oily or a little bit more separated. I would just say right in here, we're starting to look a little bit kind of heavier and a little bit cakier. But really, I feel like 6 hours, then we started to notice a big change. And since then, nothing too bad. So once again, a final left to right. So yeah guys, those are my first impressions on the Tarte Foundcealer Multitasking Foundation. I've got to say, with the exception of my chin, I'm actually very impressed. I really have to figure out what is happening around this kind of lower chin, and then I can give it a full tick of approval. But truly, if I ignore this kind of lower part, everything else is looking really good. So I'll definitely wear it again. I actually think, if anything, it's really, really promising across the forehead and down the center of the nose. This kind of top part of my T-zone where normally I am kind of the shiniest in the center part of my face, at least the solid half has held up really well. So I'm going to continue to wear it. I'm going to continue to try it. I'm going to try different combos and try to narrow down what it is that has done this to my chin. And if I can figure it out, then I will definitely keep you guys updated. But let me know if you guys have tried this, and also what are the first impressions you guys want me to do. Leave them down below in the comments. But if you did enjoy this video, you guys, you know what to do. Please feel free to leave me a like, comment, and leave any requests that you have down below in the comment bar. Subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell and drag it all the way down to all to become a part of this family and be notified of all my future videos. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys. This is the oh, I'm red. Hold on. This half was done with a sponge. Nope, no it wasn't. So this is, whoops, a little bit cakey, a lot cakey, and